it's Lauren with Bargain Bead Box. Today we're going to be making a pair of earrings that matches our Amazonite pendant necklace. This uses the March 2024 Seafoam Sunrise collection. Jeanette here is modeling for us, as I do not have pierced ears. But we're going to have three links. Three sets of links. We're going to be using some eye pins. We're going to be making a wrapped loop, and as well as some simple loops. And we've also got this faceted teardrop here that we have added the eye pin to. So if you need a tutorial on how to do that, we do have it in another video. Yeah, let's get started. Hey guys, so this tutorial uses a wrapped loop, which is a new technique we haven't shown before. It's really simple. You just need a fairly flexible head pin. And I'm going to show it to you right now just in case it's blurry or hard to follow with everything going on the bead mat. Sometimes the camera doesn't know what to focus on. So to get started, we've just strung our bead on our head pin. And you will need some round nose pliers. I've got my bead on my head pin. And I'm going to grab it, leaving about a 2mm space there. I'm going to take the wire and I'm going to bend it back over and down, kind of off like that. Now I'm going to rotate my grip on it just by about 25%, by about 90 degrees there. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to pull it tight up against the back of the pliers. See that? So you've got like a little curlicue with your pliers stuck in the middle. And now I'm going to pull it up like this and to the side. So that forms our top loop. And you've got the wire ready to wrap around it. At this point, I like to hold on to the loop itself with the needle nose portion of my multi-tool or my pair of needle nose pliers. Either one will work. And I'm going to try to wrap as close to the pliers as possible to start. And I'm just going to use my fingers, and you can also grab the end with a pair of pliers if you want. I'm just going to wrap it around that space that we left in the head pin, ideally about 3 times. I maybe did mine a little further out than I exactly needed to because it's going to be about 4 by the time I fill that space. All right, so now all that's left to do is snip off this end. I'm going to use wire cutters. As close as I can. And then that last little tail there, I'm just going to close with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to grab it and kind of like scoosh it down. There we go. Here, I'll try to put this down here so we can get more focus. All right. And that's all there is to it. You've got a wrapped loop. Okay, so to make these, we are using the ear wires, chandelier components, 3mm Amazonite rounds, 8x6mm white crystals from the Peaches and Cream strand, the green drops, 8mm Amazonite rounds, and then we've got our 2 Amazonite faceted half-trailed beads, which we have glued an eye pin in with E6000. And again, I do have a video where we did that if you want to take a look at how that's done. But it's very simple. And as far as tools go, I've got my needle nose pliers. I'm sorry, my round nose pliers and my needle nose pliers and wire cutters. And the only items I'm using that are not from the box are these 4mm copper jump rings and some ball head pins. These are pin 540 at the Bead Box Bargain store. All right, so to get started, we are first gonna make some eye pin links. I'm gonna do one here to go above the main teardrop, and I'm gonna do an Amazonite and then a crystal and another Amazonite. And sometimes with eye pins, the tips get a little blunted in shipping, and it's good to just snip it off, get a fresh bit. And sometimes with these tiny little Amazonite beads, sometimes the drill hole gets a little narrow in the middle, and if that's the case, you can just grab a different bead. But generally, yeah, that one's just a little small. Generally, I haven't had too much trouble with them. There we are. See, that one's fine. And now our crystal. And now one more Amazonite round. We'll see if this, yeah, that one went on easily. Okay, so now we're going to make a simple loop. We're not going to wrap this loop. This is just going to be a very simple link. And I want it to hang a little shorter than the wrapped loop. So that's why we're doing a simple loop here. So I'm going to turn it so that the loop at the bottom of the eye pin faces towards me. Now I'm going to take the top of it, I'm going to wrap it down away from me. Then I'm going to grab it at the base, tilt it back towards me, come here and finish rolling that towards the base of the loop. And now we have an eye pin loop, and I only powdered up my Amazonite a little bit. Okay. Amazonite is a rather fragile stone, so you want to be a little bit careful. I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the center loop on the chandelier, if I've got it open enough, which I do not. Again, when you're opening loops, you want to swing those up and down. You're not trying to uncurl it, you're just trying to open it and then close it. All right. Cool. And then now on the bottom of this bottom loop, I'm going to open up and put on my central teardrop. So that's the middle dangle of this 3-part chandelier, and I'm going to go ahead and make one just like it to go on the other side. Over here on this chandelier, I mean, the other earring. All right, so next I am going to make just a little simple Amazonite with 3mm Amazonite link for each side of the earring here. So I'm just going to take my eye pins, I'm going to snip the end again just to make it a little easier to string the bead on. And again, yeah, that one's fine. Again, these Amazonite can be a little finicky. Some of the drill holes, like it's just such a close fit between the drill hole and the eye pin that even a tiny variation can make a difference. So if you have one that just will not go, you could enlarge the hole with a bead reamer, or you could just grab another one. It's a big long strand, and you only need 8 pieces for this design. So, all right, make sure that's facing towards me, and we're just gonna do a little simple loop. It's gonna be on the larger side here. There we go. I could have made that smaller, but I think it'll work fine. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to use my head pins, so we're done with eye pins, and we are going to make 2 drops with simple loop and 2 drops with a wrapped loop. 1 of each for each earring. So we'll do the simple drops first, or the simple loops first. And for those, I'm going to use, let's see, yeah, that was a little more green. I'm gonna use a teardrop bead, or a drop bead. It's more of a gumdrop than a teardrop, I suppose, with a bead cap on top of it. And I'm just gonna do a simple loop because I want this to be kind of a short drop. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to make 1 more just like that. So now I'm just going to assemble these by opening a loop up. It's swinging it onto the chandelier pendant and then closing it up again. And now I'm going to open the bottom loop. Try to finish closing this. I didn't quite get it all the way. There we go. And I'm going to attach the little dangle I just made. And close it again. Okay. So there's that dangle done on that earring. Okay, now it's time to do a wrapped loop. And these are really not complicated. They look super nice. I like to use these thinner head pins for wrapped loops. The thicker the head pin, the more resistance and honestly the more trouble it gives me. So these, I believe, I want to say they're 22 gauge. They are pin 540, so I will double check that on the listing, but I really like how flexible they are. Okay, so we've got our beads. We're doing an 8mm Amazonite and a 3mm Amazonite. We are going to grab right above the beads. We're going to leave about a 2mm space just to wrap the wire then. It doesn't have to be super much. We're going to bend it backwards like that. And now I'm going to grab this wire and I'm going to fold it back over and around the needle nose plier using, or I'm sorry, the round nose plier, using the round nose of the plier to form the base of my loop. Now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to rotate them just from being this, just like a quarter turn from this direction to this direction. I'm going to grab it again because now I can take the tail of my wire and I can pull it up against the back of that plier to make the back of my loop. So that's my basic loop made. You see that? It's got the tail flying off this direction. So now I'm going to very carefully, I've got my needle nose pliers and I'm going to hold the loop that I've just made. I'm going to take this long end and I'm going to start to wrap it around the center. And my goal is hopefully I can get 3 wraps in and I'll be about at the beads then. And full disclosure, this is not my greatest skill. I have horrible wrists and working with wire is difficult for me. I love it, it's beautiful, but my body mechanics do not like it. So yeah, my top loop there is a little bigger than I'd like it to be, but all in all, it looks okay. And our beads are wrapped. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna take the wire cutters now, and I'm gonna cut off that little bit of wire as close to the center, as close to the base as I can. And then that little pokey bit that's left, I'm just gonna kind of push down with my needle nose pliers. Let's see here. I should get it. Trying not to squish my Amazonite at the same time, which is proving a little tricky. There we go. Now we've got a cute wrapped loop. Again, I am not the world's best wire wrapper. You may be able to do this a lot better than I can. But I'm going to do that one more time. All right, and there's our other wrapped loop. I'm just going to attach these using a jump ring. And let's see, for that, I may actually grab my chain nose pliers too. Here. And I've got this little jump ring thingamabob that I enjoy. Just going to open up this jump ring. Just the easy part. And now I'm going to put my wrapped loop, my chandelier in there. And now I get to close it again with all this stuff in it. So wish me luck. Here we go. Oh, I swung it out a little bit. That was silly. Oh well. I will fix this in a minute. I just managed to uncurl it a little bit accidentally. I may end up having to use another jump ring. Now, all that's left to do is open up these ear wires. They are an open loop at the top. They're not soldered. So you just kind of swing it open like that. Slip on the chandelier. Oh, I gotta open it a little more than that. Those chandelier tops are thick, it turns out. There we are. And there we go. Now we're just gonna close it back up. I may get my finer pliers for this. I love my heavy duty chain nose. They are great for jump rings. They're just a little chunky. Well, I didn't have any trouble with my other ones. This one's, there we are. Okay, so there's one earring. Now, after I throw all my things, I'm going to make the second. Here we go. There you have it. And these will look lovely with the Amazonite necklace that we made as well. And I've done a mirror image pattern so that when you're wearing them, you'll have the same beads forward, but you don't have to do that. You can make them the same if you'd rather. But yeah, that's it. You have now made some beautiful chandelier earrings. Thank you so much for watching. We will have some more fun videos coming up. You'll get to see some of the other pieces our team has made. Really excited to share those with you. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and just thanks for being here. Happy beading!